Hey, all right, welcome to the Tuesday show. How does it sound?
Yes, we are changing things up a little bit here. We have new microphones, as you can tell right now.
Well, maybe not so much. I got a black sweater on.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I've got one.
I've
got one sitting here. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully it sounds better for everybody. People in the chat, let us know if this sounds good or not. So. Yeah, and we even got like new decor here too. Ooh. I'm super happy about that. I mean, I'm sad that the glare is there, but you know, I think that this will sound a lot better now. It sounds a lot better in my headset.
Okay, that's good.
It sounds less like we're in an echoey room now.
Sweet.
So,
all right, very good. So welcome to season 7 of UltraChenTV Tuesday show. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. Not really. You know,
7 years, dude.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I was back in the good old 20s when this thing started.
So some people are saying the mic is a little muffled, so what I can do is... Well, is it just us, or is it... It's sounding softer, people say. And it moves. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for that, I guess.
All right. Okay, well, hopefully I'll keep working on that. So.
Yeah, we're trying it out this time. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it goes well. So, tonight... we are going to have a year in review. 2017 is over, 2018 has begun, and we're going to have the UltraChen Awards to talk about what happened in the past year.
2017, yeah.
That's right.
And I don't know, it's weird. Like, it was a crazy year, but I still remember in 2016 there was a lot of like, 2017 is going to be like the big year. Things are going to change. And
yeah.
I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that happened. So
I remember last year. As you know, we were doing research for making our picks tonight. We were looking over last year's picks, and mine. In fact, mine the last 2 years was one of them was that FGC is now esports. And I felt like that was like the big it happened.
Right.
And it still is happening, but there isn't like a big change about it.
Right.
It's like the same thing.
Exactly. So kind of interesting. Okay.
So what are the categories we got? We have Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. For each of these, we'll be making 3 picks, by the way. Three each. We haven't talked about our various picks.
Yeah. So
we'll see how that goes.
Although I feel like Player of the Year might be very similar between us.
Oh, well, all right.
I feel like it. Maybe.
Okay, we'll see then. We'll see then. Match of the Year, our favorite match. Fighting Game of the Year, not necessarily newly launched. Just
right. Like which ones had a great showing this year, et cetera, et cetera.
And not even necessarily our favorites, want to point out. Story of the Year, FGC Member of the Year, Newcomer of the Year. That can be a person, it can be a game, whatever, right?
Right.
Then we're going to have our Random Selects, which is just like something else.
Yeah, something that we felt like we wanted to mention, make sure that we got in there. Yeah.
We're going to have the Worst of 2017. We're going to make 3 picks for... whatever worst it was, whatever category doesn't, person, game, moment,
event, concept, theory, whatever. Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah. And then we're gonna have our personal FGC resolutions for this coming year.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So, do you want to just get started? You want to do this?
Maybe. By the way, it's very cold outside.
It's like
it's about 58 as I was driving up here. So. I just my hands have cold feelings sometimes, and this night's one of them. So
yeah, but it has been cold.
Actually, it's kind of cold for us.
It's been cold for
It rained today, by the way.
It's raining.
Big news.
Really hard too.
Yes.
Starting last night, actually. Well, this morning, which was last night for me.
Weird.
But yeah.
Weird. We're mostly going to be talking about 2017 tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there are some other interesting FGC stuff that we might talk about after the thing is done. So we'll see if we have.
Just
time
not going to be the bulk of it, but
we'll see if we have time for that. But as we always do for every year, recently we're starting the year off with the crazy recap. So let's do this. And I'm going to be trying to add these in here as we go. So
what do you got? The UCTV Awards
category
with little ASCII art category.
So now it becomes Player of the Year, again.
I was in North Carolina, just a couple weeks ago, and it was 20 degrees Fahrenheit, so well below freezing. And it got, during the nighttime, it was 10 degrees or whatever. And I felt not bad. That is to say, like, my hands felt not bad. It's just like sometimes it happens, sometimes not. That's how it goes.
Okay. Well, I have written down Ultra David number 3, so I have predetermined that you are going to go first for this category.
Oh, I thought you meant you were picking me as your player.
No.
Oh, what? It can't happen. What?
I mean, you could. It could. So let's do it. I think it'd be exciting if we could do that next year. Let's have the return of Ultra
9 years ago, maybe. Right? Yeah, more or less.
Man.
Maybe 8. So, player of the year, my first. That is to say, third.
Oh, yeah, by the way, so someone in the chat says, you're early tonight, and that is because we're going to try to do this for all of 2018. We're going to try to start at 7:30, be a little bit friendlier to East Coast time. We also want to make sure that Marvel Lives podcast finishes, but that way we can be a little friendlier to the East Coast time, and that way it can end earlier, and so we can finish our day a little bit earlier instead of getting out of here at like 11 o'clock at night and such. So there you go. So we are starting early. So
Alrighty. All right. Player, my third pick. PG Punk.
PG Punk.
Third place.
Third place.
That's right, not first or second. Okay. He had a great year. In fact, it was the most dominant Street Fighter year. He just didn't win Evo or Capcom Cup. And, Capcom Cup was not good for him. It was like at Evo, he got second place at least, but Capcom Cup, so it was kind of a little worsening in terms of the biggest majors. But still, everything else was great. He was in like 22 grand finals or something. It's some wild number. But, I'm going to stick with that.
It's really interesting now that you mention it, because he started off this year in such a high spot. He was the guy and everything, and then towards the end, I feel like he had a lot of that thunder stolen from him, huh?
Yeah, but think about it. He had a bad showing against.
You're blocking your mic.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, it's relevant now. He had a bad showing against Nemo in round 1 of Capcom Cup. It was like he hadn't woken up yet. I don't know. But then after that, he played great, and he got far. He got like 9th or something overall. So. So, barring that, if that one match had gone differently, we'll see. Could be a totally different story.
Right.
So
exactly.
I don't know that the second half of the year was not as good for him, but there are these 2 major tournaments that are the biggest ones, and he didn't have it.
Right.
Okay. What do you got?
All right. So let's.
Third place, Jimmy C.
I don't know if this is going to be well here. This might take too much work for me to do this, but my number 3 pick was actually Kudans.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Kudans for having the amazing, comeback, basically, because he was a player who was at Evo 2004, 2005, playing Tekken. Back then, he was a little kid. You saw pictures of him. He got hand problems. He had to basically quit fighting games. He had to relearn how to use a joystick and all that stuff that. And then, yeah, exactly right. And he came back and won the Tekken World Tour. And and he did it in a turtleneck sweater as well.
That man looked pretty good.
Yeah. But I thought that was a great comeback story, and to have him come back and win Tekken World Tour, I thought was really, really cool, and it was really exciting too. Super hyped the way that he did. He beat JDCR, even had made JDCR pick a secondary character, and then he got bodied by Saint in the first game. In the second game, in Grand Finals, he came back and outside of one game just basically destroyed Saint, so he made some crazy recovery. So shout-outs to Kudans. He is my number 3.
You got it, man. I think that's a great pick.
Okay.
Okay. Are you going to keep this up?
I'm going to try. So, all right.
All right. What do you think about just having, one of our names on Control-C and, just... Anyway.
Actually, you know what? I can do this. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do this. Yeah, that'll make it a lot easier. There we go. Okay.
All right. Anyway, my second place is Zero. Yeah, he continues to basically control the game that he plays. Smash 4 is pretty much dominated by him. He didn't get Grand Finals every single time this year, but I think there were 3 or 4 at most tournaments that he did not make it into top 4 or higher. He won almost all of the important things, although he got second at Evo. So I don't think it's a year where there's one guy who just had the most dominant year ever.
Right.
But still, he really controlled things. So good job to him.
Well, never mind. I guess our lists are
we
very
different?
Yeah, very,
Sweet.
very different. Okay. I was expecting not to have this happen this way. Okay. Well, my number 2 pick, I do know who it is, but I just want to make sure here. All right. Is actually going to be Mena RD.
Mena.
I'm going to put Mena RD in there because, one, you know, obviously he won Capcom Cup. But he had been playing really great all year long. And people just weren't talking about him very much. They're like, oh, he won some online tournaments or whatever. Then SCR, he did really well. And then he took it at the very end. And I feel like, you know, I'm sad. One of the reasons why I wanted to put him up here is because I'm also sad that a lot of people are trying to discredit his win as, oh, Birdie's broken or Street Fighter V was random and all this.
Weird.
It's so... I mean, it happens when it's like... I mean, you know, it's the sad meme-ish kind of thing, but like when you're not Japanese and you win, people just discredit you, right? This happened with Luffy as well, you know what I mean? So, except I guess Knuckle Dude didn't fall into that last year, but somehow, you know, Luffy happened at EVO, and I don't know, I'm sad that that's happening to Man RD, and I really want to give him the props that he deserves for winning. And then, of course, you know, in 2018, he starts off by winning by beating Punk and Smug, you know, in the tournament right away at KIT. So, you know, there you go. I mean, that's why I tweeted out, oh, we got lucky again, you know.
For sure.
Because he's obviously a really, really strong player, and so he's my number 2. There you go.
Mena RD, interesting. Well, my number 1 is going to be Sonic Fox.
Sonic Fox. Ooh,
yes, it is.
Okay.
He, among those two guys, those guys that I mentioned, Punk, Zero, and now Fox, he's the only one that was doing good work in 2 games. And like I said, I don't think this is a year where anybody really dominated. Nobody jumps out to me as like, it's the year of Cien or Infiltration or whatever it was. But Sonic Fox didn't win EVO and he didn't win E-League. But he won everything else. And he's probably the best Marvel Infinite player in the world as well. Although he didn't win Battle of the Stones because he wasn't even there.
Right.
So, you know what? That's what I'm going with.
Okay.
I just don't think it's a good year for anybody to have dominated.
Oh, that's so strange. Okay, so we don't have a single repeat on our list.
I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but my number 1 is actually Dragon.
Oh, interesting.
Which is the opposite.
Yeah, all right.
Because he did win EVO and he did win the IPS/E-League.
Yes.
And I think that means he is the most successful player this year.
Well, Fox won IPS.
Well, but it extended to E-League.
Yeah, and then the Ultimate League led into E-League, which Dragon won. Yeah,
which Dragon ended up winning. So he won the 2 big ones, basically.
That's true. He did.
And he's the only player that managed to do that this year, right? So, for example, JDCR won EVO, but then he didn't win Tekken World Tour. Punk got 2nd place, and then, you know, he got 9th place or whatever it was at Capcom Cup. And Tokido even won 1st, and he got 2nd in Capcom Cup. So he probably could have been easily in my top 3 somewhere like that.
Him, of course. Yeah.
But I'm just going to give it to Dragon because I feel like he's the only one that actually had that success that a lot of other players wanted to get and didn't get.
Yeah.
So
I can't argue against it too much, man. like I said, I thought about him. I thought about Tokido. There were a couple guys that I thought about on top of that. I just didn't think that it was a year where anybody dominated, so pick whatever you want.
Interesting. So we're going to fuel this NRS drama.
No, I think Dragon was the champion for sure, but not the best player.
Right, exactly. Oh, man. People are getting salty in chat right now because they all want Tokido in there, so... But the thing about, honestly, with Tokido is that he's been good for so long.
I'll have words about Tokido.
Yeah, for sure. Tokido will be mentioned.
We will mention him, of course.
Yes, okay.
In fact, I'm going to mention him in this next category.
Okay, what's the next category?
Next category is Match of the Year. Match
of the Year. All right, so I'll start then.
Yeah.
This time. So let's do this. And my number 3 match of the year. Sorry, I got to bust out my notes over here because. Oh, well, look at this.
What do you got?
In number 3, I have, BS. I have Tokido versus Punk.
Well. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because this.
At EVO Grand Finals.
At EVO Grand Finals, yes, in Street Fighter V. Because I just felt like, man. for Tokido, he won in 2002 in CVS2, which was the headlining game that year. And then he won in 2017, 15 years later.
Crazy.
To be able to do something like that. And it's really interesting because this will play into one of my stories a little bit later on as well. But, Tokido going up against the young guard. And he's in FGC years, he's an old man now. In
athletic competition, he would be old too.
Yeah, exactly. So, really this year has been dominated by a lot of younger players. And for Tokido to win EVO like that over a streaking and dominating Punk, I felt like was such a huge thing, was such a huge statement. And I don't know. I loved the veteran versus newcomer kind of storyline thing. So So there you go.
All right. My third one is Jimmy Tran and Knee.
Oh
from Tekken World Tour Global Finals. So I didn't want to pick multiple from the same game. I wanted to have different. So what was the one I was going to pick for Tekken? This one or one of Kudan's matches. I don't know. There was also Jimmy versus Nobi that was super sick. There were a few good ones, but this was my favorite. It was especially at the end of it. It was obviously the last round, and Jimmy had to make this crazy comeback, which is super hard in Tekken, especially against someone who has defense like that. And just you're biting your nails constantly. That I thought was so good. That was my favorite.
Was that the one that I was sitting next to the Knee sponsor? I think that was. There was one that I was like trying to root for Jimmy Tran while I was sitting. No, it was Nobu. It was Nobu. That's what it was. Okay, never mind. I was rooting against the player that Nobu was going up against, and I was sitting next to Nobu's sponsors. And
that's funny.
But no, that was a great match. That was a good match. So, number 2 match for me. Oh God, I don't know how I'm going to fit this in here.
It's a big one, huh? What do we got? Words.
All right, I'm just going to put, there we go. I'm going to say Kagemaru Master Cup Top 8. Grand Finals. The reverse OCV with Josie.
Okay.
In Grand Finals for the Master Cup, because the Master Cup, and it doesn't even fit in the thing up there. Look. He had the crazy reverse OCV, right?
No,
with Josie.
This is a good choice.
A character who's not necessarily known as a top tier, not a bad character. Tasty Steve on the mic was making a joke like, this character's garbage, But the character is pretty, is not terrible, but not great. Not considered one of the strongest, but, to be able to reverse OCV in that kind of environment in the grand finals of Master Cup of over 1,000. Keep in mind, we just saw Co-op Cup, and we're like, wow, there's 100 teams, and oh my God, look at all these players. Dude, Master Cup had almost 500 teams or something like that. It was something ridiculous like that. And, in that kind of environment, to get that reverse OCV, I think was probably one of the greatest accomplishments, and just got to be one of the biggest emotional rides ever.
Oh yeah,
basically. So,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my number 2 for match of the year is Forever King over Sonic Fox at E-League. This was the best that I had ever seen Forever King play. He's been playing since MK9, but super strong in Injustice 1, MKX here now in Injustice 2, and yet never almost never won that big major.
Right.
Or beaten the best player at the time, but obviously always really good. So Sonic Fox came into that event, everybody thought he would make the finals for free, right? No. And it was because of Forever King.
That was first round, right? That he put
and then at the end as well, Sonic Fox made it through the loser. So extremely good match. Just so much control. I've never seen, maybe only a couple times have I ever seen Sonic Fox kind of shake like that. Like clearly worried.
Right.
Like in real life, not. I thought that was really impressive.
Okay. Cool. My number 1, and as soon as this match happened, I was like, okay, this is my number 1 of the year, basically. And this one's going to be a weird one, and I know a lot of people are going to be mad about this, but my number 1 match is going to be F-Champ versus Richard Nguyen at SCR in MVCI.
Interesting. What a choice.
Because that match was ridiculous when it happened.
Good, yeah.
I'm going to put R-Win. There we go, because I can't fit. Because I remember when I saw that match, I was like, this is the that match, I felt like kind of, ironically, unfortunately, the momentum didn't stay, but it really helped welcome MVCI kind of into the whole fold and everything. And I just remember getting super, super hype about that match, and that was just craziness. And I don't know, the level of skill and level of play in that match I thought was really good. And of course, there was also that whole thing where F-Champ was going in there and everyone knew he had played the game already.
He was way ahead.
Yeah, he was way ahead of everybody. So to have Richard almost beat him, especially with that ridiculous comeback with the Soul Stone that one round.
Yeah.
I was jumping up and down and screaming, and I saw that, and I was like, "This is match of the year!" So I need to hold that. So
fair enough.
I need to stick with that choice. So
I think that's a very interesting choice.
Yeah.
But deserving. My number one is Mena RD over Tokido.
Okay.
In that grand finals there at Capcom Cup, Tokido had beaten him in the winner's side pretty convincingly towards the end of it. And Mena RD figured it out. And it was a long set. He had to reset the bracket and then win.
Right.
And against Tokido, who we both have all the respect for in the world, that was super hard. And he made it he made it seem like, what does Akuma do in that matchup? Right? It looked really hard for Akuma.
Right.
And I just don't think it's really like that.
No.
I really don't think it's like that. But he had that much control, and he put himself at that exact range. And in the meantime, you can see Tokido adapting and changing, and it's not like he's just getting caught off guard. He was figuring things out. Remember when he did the air fireball to stay above the super? Right. He was adapting while it was going on. And that I think makes it all the more impressive to me that Mena won anyway.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
There you go.
All right. Well, that was... match of the year, right? And the next category we have is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, game of the year.
Fighting game of the year.
Fighting game of the year. Is this even gonna fit? I need to either pick a smaller font or something like that, or something. Fighting game of the year. There, that's what I'll do. Okay, and we'll start with you for number 3.
Number 3. Let's say. Number 3 is Marvel.
Marvel? Okay, okay.
Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Okay, well, I'm just going to type MVCI. Okay.
No, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Oh, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Okay. Sorry, you said Marvel and I was already
That was the joke.
Yes, okay. Gotcha.
It's sort of as a proxy. I think it's unfortunate when games are preempted by the next in their series, and you don't see any of that game anymore, even if it was really good.
Right.
And the other side of it is that I feel bad in retrospect for having thought that game sucked for a while. Really, it was a bad call on my part, and I wish that I had kept playing it. I remember I traded in my Marvel disc while I was buying a PS4, I guess, and I just traded in my Marvel for $2 at GameStop, whatever.
Right,
I was like, I'll never play this trash again. And then I really, really wish that I hadn't done that. So I love the way that the game ended up. I thought it was super fascinating, and I was very sorry to see it go.
Okay. Man.
I think it's... and I'll talk about this more later, but it's kind of instructive as to how that scene dealt with the game.
Right.
Keeping it going and making it hype and creating basically a tour for it. Right. I think all that is really impressive, and that's part of why I picked it.
Right. Okay. Well, dang, now I kind of wish I'd picked that one for my number 3. Because my number 3 is actually everything that's not number 1 and number 2. Because, honestly, I felt like this was...
Is Tasty Steve on the show tonight? What is going on, James?
This is more of a... I just don't feel like a lot of games had good showings this year.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah, I'm saying, the other 2 that I have for number 1 and number 2 are... They're the clear standouts. And I just don't feel like anything else stood out, which was weird to me because, like I said, I felt like 2017 was going to be this crazy year. And honestly, when I was trying to make this category, I really had a hard time picking a number 3. And I thought that was kind of indicative of something. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to pick a number 3.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pick a number 3. I'm just going to leave it blank.
No, yeah, I have fun with number 1, fun with number 2.
Yeah,
I don't even know what number 3 is.
Dude, I mean, I'm pretty sure we know what number 2 and 1 are going to be for both of us. So, but
sure.
Well, theoretically, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe.
I'm holding in number 2 right now.
Oh, God.
No, I'm not just awarding it for the community. I also really liked how Marvel 3 ended up.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, yeah. Agreed. So.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody has the same top 1 and 2. At least we do.
And yeah, I mean, someone actually says there's no love for Guilty Gear Exit Rev, right? But I mean,
that was definitely in our top 3 last year.
Yeah, I love that game. But I mean, even talking to the community, a lot of the people aren't even particularly stoked about how Rev 2 ended up compared to Rev 1 and all the stuff like that. You know, there's been a little bit of kind of like, you know, it's been a little bumpy this year. So, so hopefully next year Guilty Gear will come back strong. So. Yeah.
I'm with you, dude.
Okay. So what's your number 2 then?
My number 2 is Tekken 7.
Okay.
Yeah. Fantastic game. I'm very happy that it has finally sort of come back into the fore as one of the main games. I'll talk about that later too. Excellent game, obviously, and has produced a ton of amazing matches. Just as a viewer, I play it only very casually, right? You've played it much more than I have. I know the basics of it, but just enough to like watch. And that has been really awesome this year. Yeah. So from that perspective, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
also my Jack is dressed up as a. He's like, dude, I don't know how to describe. He's like a pink fairy maybe.
Someone actually said that they need to, just as for fun, give Abigail a Jack alternate.
That would be so cool.
Right? Like, it kind of makes sense. When my friend said that, I was like, yo, I love it. Holy crap, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, if they just, for like, hey, Namco, can we give Abigail a Jack alt? I think that would be the sickest thing.
That would be awesome.
That would be the sickest thing. So, my number 2... is actually, I think we have this a little bit swapped here, but I have Injustice 2 as number 2. Again, great year that it went through. Just came out, the IPS, E-League, a lot of good success there, a lot of good hype for that game. Look, I know a lot of people, it's tough because a lot of people watch it and they're like, oh, the zoning is boring or whatever like that. And and I've always challenged people too, is like, if you think the zoning is boring and that good, go try it. Like the hardest part is when you watch Injustice, a lot of times you'll be watching someone like Sonic Fox playing Deadshot. Yeah. And he's gonna make the zoning look really easy, brain dead, and simple. Right. But you play it yourself, and you're like, I'm going to try to zone this guy out with these cool Deadshot moves, and then people are meter burning and jumping, and you're like, wait a minute, why is this not super easy like Sonic Fox makes this look? It's not as easy as people think it is. It won Game of the Year for a whole bunch of, like the Video Game Awards and everything, because it's also the most complete package as a video game, just as a fighting game, right? Like I said, my best friend has put 100 hours into the game and has never played a match online.
Interesting. Yeah.
Right? There's something for everybody in this game, and that's amazing to me. And again, even from the competitive side of things, I think it had a great year, great storylines, the Dragon versus Sonic Fox stuff, Sonic Fox dominating and not winning the E-League and EVO, all those things like that. So Injustice number 2 for me. So
I think that's a great choice. It's my number 1.
Yep, of course.
Injustice 2. Part of it is that it's my favorite game to play this year. It's a game I certainly played the most. But the other part is that it is that very complete package, right? I think that's really about it. Even me, my thoughts on audiovisuals and fighting games. It's not the most important thing to me.
Right.
But with that game, I've actually spent time playing one-player mode and like the multiverse and stuff to get cool outfits for my dudes. Right, because
you post up all your names and everything.
Yeah, and I get to make names for my loadouts. It's hilarious.
Oh man!
So I love that side of it. It sort of scratches the itch of the sort of MMO RPG, that I gave up earlier this year.
Right.
So I get to like make how my guy looks, and it's there was a storyline too. I mean, there's like a lot of other stuff that's not just a fighting game.
Right.
That's why I gave it number 1 as opposed to Tekken, which, like I said, I think Injustice is my favorite game of the year, but I think Tekken probably had the most explosive growth and
Right.
the sort of biggest resurgence of the year.
Right. That's why I have it as number one. Yeah, I mean, pretty much just said it right there. Not only that, too, but this is the game that I became the most familiar with this year. I spent a lot of time playing it, learning it, trying to really understand Tekken, and it's the first time that I feel like I get the game, you know, to the point where I can watch it and recognize when people do crazy things, you know. Before I just watched Tekken, I was like, how do you block high low? Like, why is this happening? You know, kind of thing. And just this year, the events were all so great, crazy. Bandai Namco has been doing a great job supporting the game as well. The Master Cup, the Tekken World Tour was really, really well done. The game has just taken a whole nother level in terms of presentation. And that's probably one of the reasons why I have it over Injustice as well. Because obviously, you know, I have issues with Injustice, you know, background music, animation, whatever like that. I feel like Tekken, like, holy crap, that game is just beautiful. The slow motion thing is ridiculous. And, you know, it's kind of interesting because, like, it's a new game, but it's not. It's been out been out for like years. So it's kind of, you know, we have to keep that in mind that it's had the time to be polished and everything like that. But, you know, it was crazy. And, you know, speaking of Injustice as well, because both of the games with crazy guest characters that are showing up in the game, like the Turtles are going to show up next year for Injustice, which was crazy. But like,
this year.
Having you're right, this year. But, you know, with Tekken having Geese and Akuma in there, you know, helping. And not only putting them in there, but, like, making them like Street Fighter and KOF characters. You know what I mean? Like, they're Tekken, but they're not. You know what I mean? So
it's super cool.
Yeah, so Street Fighter is definitely my number. I mean, sorry, Tekken 7 is definitely my... Oops. Is definitely my number one of the year.
All right. Yeah. I think most people would have Tekken 7 and Injustice 2 in one of those two spots.
Well, I mean, even with the IGN Awards and the Video Game Awards, remember everyone was like, Tekken, Injustice, Tekken, those were the only two games that people were really talking about.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to do one more category, or do you want to take a break?
Let's do one more.
Okay.
Let's talk about our event of the year, not Evo.
Yes.
Everybody would say Evo.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
so we're just going to say that's a given. And what are the other three?
All right.
You get to start.
Yep, I get to start. And just scroll this down here. I had this actually last year, and I'm putting it back here again this year. And that's actually going to be the Red Bull Proving Grounds again. Because, again, it might not be the highest production value kind of thing. You know, it's just shot here in Santa Monica. There's no live audience for it, whatever like that. But just kind of what it stands for. The reason why I had it so high up last year was because it was the same thing. It's all the different communities. We got to see new players. We got to see, you know, new faces and get to know some of those guys. I mean, that's where we first saw Cool Kid, right? And now Cool Kid this year was like, well, I mean, obviously we knew about Cool Kid before in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, but I feel like that's where a lot of people got to know him in terms of the Street Fighter scene and everything like that last year. This year, I felt like it was the same kind of thing. I love what they do with all the different cities and how they bring in all the players from all the different communities, everything that culminates into there. And, you know, minor shout-outs also to, you know, like, what was it, Yipes and Lee Chung and Vicious and Ringe. I thought they all did an awesome job on commentary for that event as well. So I just thought it was just a really, really fun event to watch. And so I have that as my number 3.
Sweet, man. I think that's a good pick.
Okay.
My third is going to be a joint award because it's kind of the same topic for both. It's majors that have kind of improved themselves, and that's Final Round and SoCal Regionals. Okay. Final Round for many years.
I thought you were pulling a Tasty Steve on me, but no, this makes sense. I'm down with this.
Okay, all right, yeah. Final Round for many years has had organizational issues, or the space was not big enough by the end. Like, there were definitely some problems with it. And this year, I thought a lot of that got ironed out really well. Way bigger spot, way better organization. The sort of streaming went well. Like, I felt like it was a big step up. They had a stage. I don't care so much about the staginess, but just it's like emblematic of them trying to make it bigger and better.
Step it up, basically.
And same thing for SoCal Regionals. There were a couple years where SCR was kind of in a weird room, or it was like in like a weird spot, or they had some organizational issues themselves. And This year, I thought it went way, way better. I thought it was much better. It was much better organized, much better located. It went better, right? They catered to communities much better, I thought. So both of those shout outs to them for stepping up.
Okay, cool.
Very, very important majors in their areas and historically too. So good to see.
So for number 2 for me, which is really funny because number 3 and number 2 are events that I wasn't even at.
Woo! Okay, I should say I limited these to ones I went to.
Oh, you did limit.
There was we didn't require that. But
yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? I put number 2 as Combo Breaker. Yeah, because we didn't get to go. It made me super, super sad. And I didn't have it last year. Everybody else had it number 1 last year, right? But I was the only one that just didn't even have it on the list because I was kind of doing there was a lot of personal things for a lot of the other events that meant a lot to me. Yeah. But it's just at this point in time, it's undeniable that Combo Breaker is the event that's not Evo to go to at this point in time. And Rick and Jabali are friends, so I'm sure no one's going to get mad at me for saying this. But it's surpassed CEO. I feel like in terms of the event to go to. Before I used to tell people I can't make it to Evo or whatever like that. What's the one event I should go to? I was like CEO. But it might change this year because CEO is moving to Daytona this year, right? So it's going to be DEO or whatever. No, CED.
Are they really changing the name?
I don't know. I don't think so. No, they're not changing the name. That would be a mistake, actually. But Combo Breaker is just, the way they support all the different communities, they have the Vampire Savior, Super Turbo, Skullgirls, Killer Instinct, and everything like that. And the 24, they revolutionized the 24-hour venue. I know NCR had it first, but it was really small or whatever like that. But Combo Breaker really kind of made it a major feature. Now everyone's trying to do the 24-hour venue and everything like that. So Combo Breaker is the event to look at these days. It is the big. It also got to be a premier event for Capcom Cup last year where it wasn't before. That's how much it obviously has improved and how much of a splash that it's making. So Combo Breaker is my number 2.
Yeah, man. I think that sounds great. My number 2 is Red Bull Battlegrounds.
Okay.
Which I love. You talked about Red Bull already, but I love Red Bull's focus on the grassroots side of things.
Yes.
Doesn't feel like it's some, big... You're not in some absurd stadium. You don't have to wear a tie and stuff. It's not like that kind of esports. It's much more scene focused, and you can see in how they organize. Literally, just the arrangement of it. As commentators, we're on a couch. Behind us is everybody. Right? It's not like here we are, and there's just a panel behind us. Right? It's not. It wasn't like that. They brought out Third Strike and Super Turbo players for it. They had a bunch of cabinets for those games. They had a bunch of free play stuff. They had an art show. They had the
VR beat up a car.
They did, yeah. On top of an open tournament.
Yeah.
So I just. I thought everything about it was really, really well done.
Even the venue was super cool. They reproduced the London stage of Street Fighter V. They even built their own phone booth and they put the clock thing up there. Yeah, they did a really great job.
I think Red Bull is super important.
Okay. Yeah. Agreed. We both have Red Bull in our lists, right? So, and number 1 for me is going to be Capcom Cup.
Oh, all right.
I have Capcom Cup there because. I really did enjoy that event. I think that they did a really cool job with the Last Chance qualifier. I felt like changed a lot of that. Obviously, Capcom Cup, this is excluding Battle for the Stones, which I kind of consider a secondary thing there because that thing did not get treated well. Yeah, that thing did not get treated well there at all, right?
I think that's canon.
But, yeah, it's a proton cannon. Anyways. But,
yeah, you had more.
Yeah, I did. Right. But any case, I did think Capcom Cup went well. And to be honest with you, I just, because even on finals day, they actually got people hype with reveals.
That's true. That was really good.
Right?
That's true. Last
year it was here's MVCI, and everyone was like, oh, crazy. But this year was everybody was just going nuts. And they changed a lot of what they were doing before with the whole silly silhouettes and everything like that. They gave us that full intro, the full opening sequence, and again, I just thought the matches were all really good. Nemo making it out of losers qualifiers with infiltration, knocking at the door. The Hochi. I almost put the Hochi Focus match as one of my matches of the year because if Hochi Focus had defeated Nemo, that could have changed the entire scope of that entire tournament, right? So because remember, Infiltration, he won the first set against Nemo, right? And then didn't he win in the losers qualifier? Okay, but in any case, the last chance qualifiers I thought was really cool because the previous year they didn't have that. And so this year it felt like a bigger event. It was really cool that way. So I'm going to put Capcom Cup as number 1. So
you got it. Well, my number 1 is CEO. Again, I'm limiting to these two, the ones that I went to.
Okay.
I went to CEO, right?
Yeah, we went to CEO.
So I'm not going to put Combo Breaker, but I'm sure it was fantastic. I was walking around Arc de Triomphe at the same time. Remember, we went to Paris and I had a great time. But literally, as I was walking down the Champs-Élysées with the Arc de Triomphe behind me, literally, I was thinking to myself, I shouldn't be here. I made the wrong choice. It's like a wild idea, you know?
Right. Yeah,
sure, free flight to Paris. All right, cool. But no, I kind of wish I made the other choice. So anyway, CEO is my number 1. I thought that it was, of all the ones that I went to, just the best. You know, it always has awesome stuff. I'd say previous year, there maybe were a couple issues, but this year was awesome.
It's very similar to that SCR final round kind of improvement kind of thing.
It was already great, but there was that year where it kind of was a little bit screwy.
Too many people. It was hot.
But this year was awesome.
Yeah.
As per usual.
Okay. Cool. There you go. So that's the event of the year. So to recap, just the first 4 categories. I'm just going to recap here. My players of the year were Dragon, Mena, RD, Kudans. My match of the year was F-Champ versus Richard Wynn in SCR MVCI. And then Kagemaru reverse OCV with Josie in Tekken 7 and Master Cup 8. And 3 was Tokido versus Punk Evo Street Fighter 5.
Right.
And then my fighting game of the year was number 1 was Tekken 7, number 2 was Injustice 2, and number 3 was do a fight noise for me. There you go. Thank you. An event of the year that is not Evo is first was Capcom Cup, second Combo Breaker, third was Red Bull Proving Grounds.
All right. Well, my players of the year were Punk, Zero, and Sonic Fox. My matches of the year: Jimmy Tran over Knee, Forever King over Sonic Fox, and Mena RD over Tokido. Fighting game of the year: Marvel. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Tekken 7, and Injustice 2, and events of the year, not Evo. Final round and SoCal Regionals tied, then Red Bull Battlegrounds and CEO number 1.
Okay.
There you go.
Good.
That's the first part. So we're going to have more coming up. We're going to take a little break. We're going to have Story of the Year, FGC Member of the Year, Newcomer of the Year, and random select whatever we want, as well as the worst of 2017. And our personal FGC resolutions coming up.
All right. Be right back, guys.